for this particular map. So people may be determining that North have a very slim chance of, well, just slim favorites getting into this one. Not necessarily a slim chance. Maybe there's a 55+% chance that they'll take this opening map, but oh, that's not the best of starts. Nighty night.
Easy. You've had better days there, huh? Not ideal.
Yeah, definitely not the best way to start a series. I'm expecting more flakes.
Yeah, I think we're all expecting a little more than that. We were pumped for the pistol round. In reality, the most exciting thing of it was AZ jumping off.
Well, what an easy
That was a bit
way to
anticlimactic,
start.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a bit of a freebie, isn't it? To be perfectly honest. This is quite the shutdown. I actually think that... Who was it that jumped off the map?
AZ.
Was it AZ? Yeah, I actually think that he was carrying the nades as well. So with him gone, there was no smoke grenade. There was absolutely nothing that they could have done about it. And, well, I'll get completely clambered. Should be a very clean second round here with the M4 stood out in the open. 3 quick kills. And, well, there's the return and the retort from Cajun. B finding 3. That's a couple of rifles able to be retrieved. Cajun doesn't actually salvage one right there. And Dick is in a really precarious angle. That is the second round secured. Where's the secondary M4? I don't think that Dennis is going to get there in time. So quite a damaging round for the Sprout economy.
An expensive one, and one that will now pay dividends for North here going into round 3. It may be 2-0, but that round, the damage done there makes it, I'd argue, probably 10 times easier for North now to really try and bring this one back and go 2-1, because they're on a full buy versus a pretty scrappy setup of Sprout. You know, we're talking about 2 SMGs, a scout in play. It's not the greatest setup for Sprout here, but if they can make it stick, that would be a disaster for North.
Well, I really do like this angle. And MSL is history. That's a really funky angle there behind those sandbags. It's often difficult to hit those shots, but you do get a little angle just beside the Xbox. And North, yeah, thrown back into a 4 versus 3. They actually have the better buy here, considering the AKs come into full force, pressuring the angle of ramp. That Molotov just goes down to force any lurking Sprout members beside the sandbags. And with Spiddy looking for seconds, let's see what's next on the menu for him. Was quite a tenured player in the German scene. Just looking for that jump up. Anybody trying to get aggressive and force him away, but the smokes are placed perfectly for North. This should be an easy bomb plant to find, even with Dicker spraying through that smoke. He eats it back twice in succession. And there goes the C4 down just to secure this first on the board for North. There's no way I'd expect Sprout to actually save those pair of rifles, considering they don't have a lot of money behind them, and just go for the force buy in the next. Dennis can probably force up with a 3rd rifle, and Snatchy's probably not going to be as lucky. I guess he picks up the scout for the CT side. What a damaging round.
Honestly, though, it's the expected outcome, isn't it? When you think about how Sprout have got into it with the weaponry they've actually come off pretty well, saving just the 2 rifles here, particularly 2 M4s, because all in all, that was a round that North would be looking pretty comfortable in. Again, it was 2 SMGs and a scout. The SMGs were unable to accomplish anything at all. The scout did some good damage, don't get me wrong, but that was about it. So I think Sprout, they actually come up pretty well saving those rifles, because it means ultimately they can get a good buy-up going into here. Yes, they'll have the scout in play, but aside from that, it should be 4 rifles, and that's going to be a great thing for them, as they can compete still for the 3-1 hit.
Interesting way to get it started. And I'm really eager to see what North decide to do. Last time, of course, in that first series of the day that they played, just that best of 1 against Saw, they headed towards ramp, I think, 13 out of 15 times. This time heading towards mid, and it's only the 1-for-1 trade. Now they have to bait Dennis out of position, and he's unable to find even one. That's the B site eliminated. Easy job to get this bomb down here. And what's the decision-making process for Sprite here? Do they decide to even go for this retake? Pretty sure that they don't. They do have a kit in hand. Maybe the goal is just try and find an opening frag, then isolate off the back of that. I'd say this is a really easy round for North to take right here. They've got all of the after plans already set up. And Sprite have an opportunity to keep 3 rifles in hand, albeit one being the scout. That's not all too bad going into round number 5.
Nice and even, that's for sure. What a map so far. It really has been quite topsy-turvy. I still find myself looking for more from this scout, though. That's the one thing on Sprout that is always the question mark. I mean, obviously they're kind of forced into it due to their economy, but would love to see if it's really able to achieve much more than it has done so far.
It's actually unfortunate considering Snatch is usually really damn good with that particular weapon. Didn't really get much done with it on Nuke. Here on Vertigo early, he's not really finding the shots either. This is his opportunity to step up.
See what the game plan will be here. North playing this one a bit more slow and calculated here, not wanting to force the issue, it seems. They will just slowly but surely set up with some flashes and whatnot towards that mid and B ramp area of the map as they begin their crunch out, just looking to dispatch of these rifles thick and fast, ensure that the pistols are easy frags as well. As so far so good, it has to be said. The weaponry that was in play from Sprout has been completely nullified. I think they have to immediately call a save, to be honest. I don't really see much more potential here for Sprout.
No, me neither. If they give away the pair of M4s right now, they're not going to have tons and tons of money going into round number 6 for all of the utility in play. Yes, that loss bonus is going to be at the $2,900 mark for Sprite going into the next. But without finding even one kill on this T side, it means a fairly, full round for North, not even dropping one man. They go for not the most aggressive hunt of all time, allowing Sprite to keep this double M4 and the scout in play. Snatchy, of course, cannot afford that AWP, so we won't see it make a re-emergence here in round number 6. And their money's a little bit polarized just because of this. He over-invested in round number 4 and 5, meaning, he just cannot afford this sniper rifle. The big question is, when will he finally be able to get it out? I guess if they lose this one with a couple of saves, then he'll have the AWP in the next, considering $3,250 along with the max loss bonus. Doesn't look too bad. He's really not fighting too much. Those smokes are definitely rendering him completely blind. There's a starting shot. The nade as well does find the initial frag.
More to be done in here as North continue to try and claw their way back in. Limited opportunities so far, though, as Lecro's just sat around waiting patiently. The rest of the team refocusing their attention elsewhere. Out for a second thinking they were going to push up on him, but now opting to, again, slow things down on the CT side too, and just wait for that push to take shape.
Yeah, this is where things start to get a little touch and go for North. They have actually rotated another player off of A, so Speedy is not really a threat towards this side of the map. Nevertheless, Snatchy Scout really does need to land a shot. They're not going to leave Dennis on his lonesome. This is starting to fall apart, and with only that less favored sniper in play, what can Snatchy get done? Missing another one? That's quite a sensational shot. With Gade gone and no bomb going down and through, North now have to scramble to tap those digits in. Here comes the retake early. As Cajun B also drops, they know exactly where Lecro's playing from, and that's finally a rifle round for Sprite. Their initial investment does pan out and pay off. Remember, there is no AWP to find, so I'm not sure what Snatchy's looking for right now. Just keeping that AK alive might be the best play. There's nothing better to trade up here. Won't stop him looking.
Yeah, gives it a good search, doesn't he? But unfortunately, no matter his ability to salvage for guns, that only comes away with what he has. That does keep things nice and close. 3-3. Squid, this is the game we wanted. Back and forth Counter-Strike. Neither team able to etch it out ahead. This is exactly what we wanted to see.
Absolutely so. Maybe speeding things up once again for North. They do really seem to favor this ramp area, like many of the top teams, with B being, yeah, a very isolated push, only a single prong. Usually makes this area of the map a little easier to take, especially when you have full utility to flush out those players from behind the sandbags and create that wall of smokes upon the A site. You see all of the building blocks in place for North, just taking each and every one of these angles meticulously, trying not to make an initial mistake, which might cost them a player or two. And with AZ starting to get more and more aggressive, will they actually expect him behind the sandbags? It appears not. They will go for this swing, and now he can fire out 2 quick kills, and Lecro's there to clean up Speedy on the third. Should be the round over.
I don't see any way in here at all now for the Sprout side. This has to be over, like you say. We've got to open a single rifle. Diksha is tucked in, tries to do a little bit of damage on Cajun B as he catches him, in fact. But that's it, literally it. That's an exit frag, if anything. North just clattering their way on towards the site, catching all the Sprout completely off guard. It will be North taking the lead here. No questions asked. This is helpful for North too, has to be said. Not only is it taking the lead, but 3 rifle safe squids, pretty impactful on their money. They're going to carry through significant cash on Gade, AZ. Heck, pretty much all the team bar MSL now going to be close to $10,000 in the bank pre-buy. Throwing the utility, the purchases and whatnot in round 8 here, you're still looking at a very comfortable T-set economy.
And that's what makes Vertigo so dangerous. You don't really need to take that many rounds in a row to really start to build up this money. You see Gage just shy of $10,000. They should be able to buy up significantly. And well, for Sprout, it just makes these rounds so much tougher to take. Means that you're very unlikely going to build up an economy on your own CT side, which is obviously the goal here. Snatchy does get aggressive, and as the smoke dissipates, will he spot out MSL first? The knee on our screen, but MSL's got him quicker. Quick entries should be able to sweep away the rest of the defense as the AWP does nothing. It's once again the A bomb site paying dividends for North.
Easy as well, isn't it? Just opening up with his calculated aggression. Slight mismatching weaponry, sure, but he gets the job done. Very clean as well. You just cannot complain. I wonder if we'll see more from MSL too. He's not usually a player I look at and go, he's going to be the key fragging power of a side like North. But today, so far, he's been on it, actually. He's been really good.
I think that's what's so dangerous about North, is they have so much star power and so much talent, so much experience, that I think any player can really step up, especially in a matchup like this where, yeah, it's up against Sprouts. They're classically a fairly good team who will give you a good old scrap, even on a map like this. But thus far, the CT side hasn't really been paying off. Now another opportunity, considering they do have all the rifles in hand. But the severe lack of this AWP for Snatchy, he's only been able to afford it just the once, Flakes. And that's a real big problem as we're going into round 9 and 10. He's just never getting this AWP in hand. And realistically, that's a bit of economic mismanagement from him. Yes, if Sprite, they're winning the rounds, he does get that sniper and the ability to snowball. But you see, with North, they're constantly finding these openings with the AWP especially, and there's just no return or retort in sight. And Vertigo is looking like a very one-sided playground once more for North.
Not even an exit frag in sight, it seems. Squid, if they get to save with 5 players on their T side, I mean, Gake's literally going to have 16k. Like, there's no more way to dress this up. He literally is going to have just shy of $16,000 in the bank.
Yeah, Gade will actually just completely max out, and AZ will be just under 16,000. Yeah, you look at that, max cash on 2 players, everybody into 5 figures before the buy comes through. It's not going to be that much of a hefty buy considering it's all 5 rifles saved.
You're literally refreshing utility, so at max probably spend about 1.2k if you're really pushing the boat out and going for Molotov, etc. as well. So
if you're treating yourself.
If you decide, you know what, it's a Friday night, let's treat myself, maybe. But no, that's insane. The money on North right now is huge. This will be a key piece that pushes them forward, I think, on their T side here, and really gives them the ability to start to put Sprout under pressure. As they can play a little bit more of a risk-based style of Counter-Strike. They can get quite aggressive. They aren't going to be worried about the potential of being reset. What we saw against the Portuguese side, like Saw, was they had to really dial things back, because at the end of the day, moves around, you're getting reset, money comes back in play if you're in position, you're looking at buy on buy all the time. North have so much in the bank at this point, they can start to be more comfortable, take these risks, and play this more aggro style of Counter-Strike, which really, to be quite frank, is where they play their best. When we see North get aggressive, they win maps.
And they win them convincingly as well, without really even dropping all too many rounds. This is starting to get dangerous for Sprout. Another opportunity for the buy, and I wonder what they go for here. Perhaps even a double AWP setup? We sometimes see them whip it out, and yeah, there it is. Dicker, he's going to be holding that secondary sniper. I guess one towards B and placing Snatchy towards A once again. You just see that scoreboard disparity once more. Nobody from Sprout being anything close to a star. Snatchy's on 7 frags, and he's topping the tables. AZ's going for this run boost again. He does nail it this time, and there's the kill. He's rewarded.
He continues his advances, because Gade actually on for a frag there, but let's go, because he couldn't quite see through the flashbang. That saves the drive, at least for now. But look at AZ go straight through the edge of the smoke, gets another kill anyway. So flashes galore, it doesn't matter. North are making it stick. 3 on 2. Snatchy goes to try and save the day. It's a hero with an AWP. One man, one dream. What can he do?
So close through this smoke as well to spotting AZ. He's on just 2 points of health, and as it dissipates, he spots out the barrel. There's another kill. AZ absolutely doing all of the hard work on the B bomb site, and Faven's been completely locked out. He's just a couple of bullets away from death right now, and there's Gade placing down a secondary smoke, and he can check towards the middle of the map. That's beautiful. Even retrieves the AWP. Not that they need the extra cash, but that's an 8th.
It's an 8th. It's more cash in the bank. It's dominance of North right now, really showing off their T side of Vertigo. You said this was getting scary. It damn right is. This is a horror movie, folks. And Sprout need to find their way back into this one ASAP. Otherwise, they will struggle in that second half to have any say at all.
Yeah, I really do think that Sprout need to be gunning for 5 or 6 rounds on this CT side, and they're just running out of runway. The only opportunity for them is if North slows down, and I just can't see that happening. And especially against these pistols, that's such heavy damage as well, right through the railings. They're really quite thin. You can do a lot of damage with just a couple of bullets. Very much like the B site of Overpass, where you can spray all the way through that wooden railing, doing fairly hefty damage. And even the flanks, they haven't quite been spotted, but North are definitely aware. With Cajun B finally turning his back, This should be an easy bomb plant for this A bomb site. Easy spray on through. The flank finally has been thwarted. There are 2 more players to find. And with this C4 going down and away, it just looks like Sprite have no chance once again. Here in the 12th, they're being completely shut down here on Vertigo. We'll see a 9-3 scoreline, just as dominant as against the Portuguese side saw just an hour ago. Remember, that was 10-1. This is looking like a very similar setting on this T side for North.
Just getting flashbacks to right at the start of this game at 3-3, where we were talking about how this was just the game we wanted to see, how it was nice and close, how reality has changed. 9-3. I mean, Squid, this is already a devastating half, and it's very much like the Saw kind of Portuguese game again, isn't it? Because you're looking towards a team saying, this is done, you're out for the count. Sprout have one chance, really, to try and bring things back. And as proven today, it's not impossible, it's just bloody difficult.
Yeah, and that was something that Saw was able to do a little earlier on. I think, unfortunately for Sprite, a lot of the success that Saw had at the end of their CT side was North rinsing and repeating towards the A bomb site. We've seen lots of different tactics thrown into the mix, a little bit of mid control, fast onto B once or twice as well, keeping the CTs guessing, and that's a big advantage just not to have. You see towards the middle of the map once again, Snatchy is going to be pretty much null and void with no targets. He needs to pick a time and rotate over to the A bomb site, but he doesn't have any of this information. North, they're once again going towards the pointy ladder. It's classically been this ramp control paying dividends for them. And then just bursting onto the back of these CTs. Those wall of smokes have been throwing Sprite through the loop every single time. North have been winning those initial fights commonly, and there go the smokes once again. Sprite are going to be completely blindfolded before the push comes through, and despite a little bit of damage, Gabe cautions them right back with a headshot of his own. Yes, the bomb is dropped, but Lecro right over the top finds even more, and this gets even more difficult for Sprite. They're getting absolutely slapped around on this CT side.
There really is no other way to dress it up at this point, isn't it? Just absolutely demolished. MSL, he's got this site on lockdown with Dior, AZ in tandem. Any peek that comes through is easy frags for them at this point. They're going to go 10-3 and more than likely 12-3 as well, Squid. I think this map is just, as we predicted, it's been the North show really the entire way through. We saw a little bit of early success from Sprout, but since then, it's been all North, and that's really what the data told us as well when we looked at this right at the start. We said North were the team that we're going to win Vertigo comfortably. As we go to Dust 2, we feel a pretty confident Sprout will have just as strong as a chance to take that. And that's where then things get real tasty over on Nukem, where we get to see a decider where both teams are very much on an even keel.
Yeah, and this map is anything but. Already double digits for North, the first tactical pause that we've seen coming out of these CTs, and it might be just a little too late at this point. Realistically, they've only got 2 rounds of this CT side left. Yes, this will be a buy with the AWP in hand for Snatchy. A fairly wholesome buy, I guess, but Speedy and Dicker really don't have too much money to play with. This, at best, is going to be either an M4 and body armor, or maybe even just an MP9 with a couple of nades to boot. This really isn't looking too good. Faven goes for the former, leaving him with just 1 smoke. And I guess that Speedy and Dicker might be exactly the same. No, just a Deagle and then a Famus. So there we see the firepower disparity once again. And how are Sprite going to put some points on the board before this half comes to a close? I guess it has to be Snatchy's AWP. He's been heading towards the middle of the map and having no success, considering North. Yes, they did go towards mid, I think, in round 3, but ever since then, it's been all about this A ramp position. And once again, they're back to basics, straight to this ramp area, and they're even finding the opening kills.
Snatchy looking for MSL. We'll find him. More to be done as well if he can get aggressive here and peek further in towards ramp. Dangerously close to finding a headshot there, but just goes a little skew if it doesn't quite land. means both teams still stand on that even keel, 4v4.
Wow. That looked like it could have been damage. Absolutely wasn't. I think with that little Xbox there being the saving grace, that could have been a lot of damage. North are usually quite stubborn on this T side, refusing to rotate. And once again, they're pitching their way through for Faven to find that pre-fire. With only 35 seconds left, they don't want to backtrack once again. It's Faven holding up the line. He's got a little bit of support, knowing exactly where AZ's playing from. And now occasion B, another 1 versus 2. He's got a Molotov and a flashbang in hand. And already a kill to his name. Has to triple things up to finish this one off. And with 15 seconds left, he's waiting for the mistakes. Almost timing himself out at this point. The Molotov can pitch on through, but how's he going to get this bomb down in the last couple of seconds? Especially with the Molotov in place. He has to go for an open plant. That's actually perfect from Sprite. That incendiary grenade is literally the insurance policy for that A site.
That really shows you the power of utility, doesn't it? If you're sat at home, folks, so you're a amateur player, you're playing ESC Open, ESC Intermediate, or something like that, that right there is a prime learning opportunity for you to improve your game, because those little bits of utility like that really bring value out of the money you spend on those smokes, those incendiary grenades every round. And that shows you one good Molotov can win you around there, because that could have been a different story. That really could have been. But using the molly to force the open plant just guaranteed, no matter what happened, that was going to be a Sprout round.
Look at all of these rifles. Just flexing the cash, splashing it all over the T spawn. Get them out. MSL could buy another 4 or 5 AKs. This is where the whole T side goes full Rambo mode flakes. AKs in both hands. Pair of AWPs for Snatchy. It's not good, is it? Pair of AWPs for MSL, I should say. Instead, he doesn't even need it. It's easy to open up the proceedings. Faven pretty much the last line of defense over by the A-bomb site, radioing for reinforcements. Might be too little too late here. Only trades 1 for 1, and that's not good enough. North should be able to take number 11, especially considering this B-bomb site is very vulnerable with only Dick as AK left to play. He's about to get a little more than he bargained for on the defense.
Not looking too pretty, is it really, for Sprout, to be honest? He had a good chance at 10 to 5, which wouldn't be too bad, but unfortunately not going to be the case. It will be 11 to 4 in the end. North with a fairly impeccable T side, to be honest, only letting 1 or 2 slip through the cracks at the very end. And we are going to see that 11 to 4, and we look eagerly towards that second half to see just how that pistol will play out. I think that is the key question for us now, is how's that pistol going to be? Of course, take a look on your screen, folks. You can see the breakdown of rounds there. I mean, just look at that stint from North. 8 rounds back to back, no interruption.
Yeah, there's not really much more to say about that. 11-4. This map could very easily be over with just 1 pistol round going North's way, and there are the odds to pretty much seal and solidify the deal. 11-4. This could be a very quick first map, and with Dust 2 coming up, a very good map for Sprite. I guess the series might not be over there and then, but it all comes down to that firepower. Will Sprite make a re-emergence? Will this scoreline get inside their head? If it does go to a 16-4, 16-5, will it shake their confidence at all? I guess not. These are pretty tenured players. They're used to losing 1 map and then bouncing right back in the second and third. This pistol round's going to be a big difference maker.
Sprout playing this one a lot slower, which is no surprise. They've got 2 smokes, Molotov, and a flashbang in play, so utility going to be a key piece of this. Question is, where are they going to use it? Like it will be an ASOP play. Molotov clearing out sandbags. I like that. That spot can be lethal in a pistol round after all. So use the molly to clear that. Both smokes has now gone out as well. Where have they landed? I'd imagine. Yeah, you can see center sight. It makes life really difficult for North to even get a frag before the bomb goes down. And they're hoping for a 5v5 retake, but that's a disaster. Squid, oh my lord.
Ooh.
You hate to see that. Faven saves the day, but he gets taken down as well. 17 seconds, the bomb's still on the floor. Oh my goodness, that has to be a heartbreaking round here for Sprout. Snatchy, Speedy, they may well save the day as they desperately try to claw away kills in the bomb plant, and they just get it through. And now they hold the advantage after all of that shenanigans. It's Sprout that are in control here.
There are two smoke grenades still in play for Team North. They could try and get onto this bomb site sooner rather than later. There goes the tap on through. The Glock not connecting, finally finding just the one shot required. AZ's still got another smoke in play, and well, there's the defuse kit picked up again. He misses the bomb. He doesn't know where the hell it is. He's already been tagged down to almost 0, and there's the round finished. Madness on the A bomb site, and Sprite somehow able to get on to number 5. Things were all going wrong for so damn long. There was only 16 seconds left on the board. With the bomb out in the open, North, they held all of the cards and basically threw the whole deck away. 11-5. It's still not a close map, but a way back in, an open door. At least it's unlocked for Sprite.
I'm
Speechless.
I really am, because that pistol round was just... Everything was going wrong for Sprout there. They're getting one-tapped through the smoke to deny their bomb plants, and somehow Snatchy and Spiddy combine for a crucial double kill across both of them to save the day there. That has never been a more impactful set of kills in this game so far. Now
I was
it's
waiting for the
Deagles.
Benny Hill music, Flakes. I was waiting.
Yeah, it's really quite something. I mean, look at this, though. The Deagles spray away. Teacher then gets a double kill to bring it back 2-on-2.
Scrappy CS. Now the AK and Galil combo wants to once again pitch into B. And MP9 wants to bait them inside. And with Lekro coming from the back lines, he might be a little too late to the party to help Gade out. Maybe the man with the plan has to go with this one on his lonesome. Maybe right over the top, just trying to stay silent for as long as possible. And there's a massively impactful kill. Forces Dicker into a really awkward spot where he has to watch the flank. And knowing where Gade is as well. And Galil retrieved for Lekro, but he instantly falls. And without the kit in play, Gade needs to force Dicker out into the open. There's the reload through, all 30 bullets back in commission to secure the 6th. Another messy round for Sprites, but at least they're able to take it over the top.
What a game so far. It really has been so back and forth. I want to see more of those Deagle kills come through early on here. We are reliving Teacher's classical play. I love the high flash there just to slow down the actual peak of the SMG as well. Just, again, buy a little bit more time on the clock. We don't get to see some of those early on pistol kills, but nonetheless, 11-6 now. Sprout will continue their charge back into this game. The question is, how long can they keep it going for?
Well, MSL is going to have the AWP in the next round, and I'm sure after what we saw against Saw just a little earlier on today that he is going to want to pick it up sooner rather than later. Should be an easy 7th round for Sprout, all things considered. This is finally an opportunity to get their money moving. But considering this is a bit of a stack towards the A site, I'd love to see Teacher go on a fishing expedition elsewhere to determine what the defense looks like towards B. It's really only Lekro getting aggressive, and already being tagged down means they need to be very wary of this stack. I guess with the Deagle dropping, Means that they know exactly where the defense is posted and should just be the firing range. As North get completely slammed, only 1 kill and retort before Cajun B drops to solidify number 7. And this is starting to get a little closer. This really looks like exactly the same as what we saw against Saw.
Is a carbon copy. It really is. The ability to not be able to close a game can be quite it's a source of the skill, I think it's fair to say. Sometimes it's not quite as easy as some would think, especially in what was looking like such a one-sided performance as well.
And it all comes back to that pistol, that really messy situation that North were unable to take over the top. This could have very easily been 13-5, 14-5 perhaps. Right, at least clawing a couple back. And I will see how competitive these AKs can be up against a full buy from North. MSL back with that AWP in hand. He's been very quiet this map with only 5 frags to his name thus far. It's actually AZ picking up the pieces once again. He's had a great day of CS. The MVP earlier on against Saw. Once again, making a big re-emergence against Sprite. One more time. I want to see how he can capitalize on a map like Dust 2. I guess MSL would be a lot more effective on a far more AWP-heavy turf. But right now, I'd like to see him playing towards the A bomb site, perhaps getting aggressive once more against those smokes right over the top. We see him playing by the sandbags quite commonly. Also standing over by the scaffolding. Let's see how Sprite do respond. MSL challenged. It's a fully blind shot to get it started.
That's a good kill to find. Plays the timing to a T there, and that does help open up the round a little bit here. Unfortunately, Fathom will strike back, finds Gade. MSL left completely blind, goes for yet another blind shot, and well, second time, not quite going to be the charm for this one. So, an even situation, once again, takes shape here. Sprout are on the back foot, I'd say, though, with Fathom being 10 HP. That would be an easy kill to collect at some point in the near future. Really matters, though, is what Sprout choose to do, and if they're going to be able to find any of these opening jewels towards the B site, which seems to be the target they're heading for.
Yeah, especially with all of this mid control already taken. Lecro maybe even challenged from the B stairs. Very common fight as he wants to gesture around this smoke. He's actually got a fairly powerful angle. I don't think he made any noise right there. Looks very scrappy and scatty initially as he does nail the first. The smoke being the saving grace to gain him a second. Only 2 bullets in the barrel, and what a headshot that was. Dennis eliminated, and North perhaps back to winning ways and up to 12 is Speedy stuck in an impossible scenario. A 1 versus 4 all alone on mid. And he's having this angle not quite completely determined as he does try and pitch in from the back, but 1 and done as North take their 12th.
Yeah, that's really all down to Lekra as well, isn't it? We saw the magic he was able to do here on this B site. 1 and done, then shoots for the third. Doesn't get it the first time around, but as he goes back for more, 2 bullets is all he needs to get that headshot. From there, it becomes an easy one to close out. North 12-7. There's a couple more gun rounds, and this one will be over the line. Map 1 in the back. That's another opening jewel won by MSL with the AWP as well.
This seems to be the game plan left, right, and center for the captain. Getting nice and aggressive with that AWP, taking down a player or two nice and early, and putting Sprite on the back foot. Once again, that B defense holding up, and there's Lecro as the insurance policy for the second. Sprite, they've been spanked backwards. I don't even know if either of those AKs are retrievable for Dennis. I think one flown right off the map. Maybe this one towards stairs can be grabbed. But where is it, Flakes? Dennis being flashed completely out of ground. Lecro completely covering it. Guess Lecro doesn't know that he's actually defending this AK right now, considering we don't really know what sort of money Dennis is sat upon. But this is going to be just impossible to salvage. Where is that rifle? It's gone. It's hidden. It's like a game of hide and seek.
Sunny Christmas not looking like it's going to come early here. Rifle for Dennis. Anything? He just gets a lick of the fire, but the guy doesn't need a rifle. You see, Squid.
Doesn't even
Just
need
needs the
one.
pistol. I like how he doesn't actually go for the M4 either. He's quite comfortable actually on the pistol. As I say, there's an M4 right in front of him, and rather than run for that, because it would put him slightly in danger. Rather than run for that, he runs away. It's a tough one, but an easy one for North to retake in the end. They make it look very, very simple. It will be 13 in play. And Sprout, money really going to start to get into dangerous territory here as well now. No more chain buys for them. They're going to have to think about taking it a little bit easy here.
Yeah, this definitely looks like more simple stuff from North. We did say that they were challenged against Saw earlier, especially on their CT side, but able to put up quite a sturdy defense. MSL's doing all of the good work at the start of these rounds, previously playing towards mid with that AWP, consistently gunning for these quick opening frags. And once again, he's going to be met with the aggression, heading towards A, still the AWP in hand, and the utmost aggression, always gunning for those quick picks. There's a fast frag. This time, Lecro getting the work in, and then Gade right through this smoke to find one. This looks very done and dusted against the pistols. As Gade wants to go aggressive one more time, playing up close and personal to the smoke, and giving Dennis some nasty treatment. Just a round over, 14-7.
I don't really think there's much more left in the bag here for Sprout, unfortunately. They put up a bloody good attempt getting to 7 at least, but I think North on their CT side, it's an unstoppable force.
Are you saying that we're done? Shall I throw to the break screen?
I think we might just be done.
Thank you for watching, everybody. See you next time.
Sprout definitely struggle to close, that's for sure, but let's see. Lecrope Deacher. Snatchy actually eking it out ahead as he finds Easy just through the crack of the smoke. That does mean it's just Cajun B, MSL, and Gade to try and seal the deal here now for North. Take us to our first map point. Worth mentioning that I may well believe this map is done, but the series almost certainly not. I think the second map is going to be more of a Sprout affair, and that should lead us down what will be quite an interesting path towards Nuke, our third map decider.
Yeah, if you dig deep into the analysis, it should theoretically be a one-sided Vertigo for North, a fairly one-sided Dust 2 for Sprout, and then a closely contested third map where Sprout, I guess, the slight favorites over on Nuke. So, yeah, this series definitely isn't over, but North doing exactly what they needed to do to try and give themselves the best chance possible in this series. If they were to have lost Vertigo, then we go to Dust 2 in very shaky territory with the 2-0 very possible. But yeah, they've put everything together. It might be saving this time, considering there's no real reason to just throw away this AK-AUG combination right into the mix. There might even be an opportunity for Gay to grab hold of a second AK perhaps. I don't know if there is one lingering around. There it is. Does Gade want it? Apparently not,
There's your
Flakes.
answer. He's not a fan of the AK, would prefer the AUG in this case.
But he could buy another AUG. I wonder what the dollar value would be for the CTs. How many dollars would you throw away to get an AK on your CT side? That's the big question that I have. Because of course you can't buy one, so it's got to be more than $2,700, surely. If you would spend $3,100 on an M4 and the AK is better, then what's the equivalent dollar value? I think we need to get Sloth Squadron out. We need to get all of the analysts through. Nice round table.
It's definitely an interesting discussion, but I think what really is center stage here is the fact that Sprout are hanging on right now by a thread, but a thread nonetheless. It only takes a tiny little bit of kindling to start a fire after all, and for Sprout, they're on 8 rounds. Not an impossible feat, just a bloody hard one. And so far, they've picked up the rounds they need. Can they keep it going? That is the question. Theodore, 4 rifles in play, full utility. It's full buy on full buy. What's the game plan going to be from Sprout this time around?
Well, that definitely wasn't on the agenda. Cajun Bean with a 1 tap. And even trades out to this AWP. We know back in the day, he would sometimes be that secondary sniper, the old Dignitas roster, but this was many years ago, Flakes. Right now, him having that AWP instead of MSL, definitely a bit of a downgrade. I feel like MSL could have probably even finished off this map early right there if he had just connected with the shots. Sometimes sticking around for a little too long amongst the flashbangs. It does definitely look like Sprout. They're going to be challenging this ramp area. We'll see just the 1 smoke come over the top, so not enough utility in play for this wall of smokes opportunity. And there goes the single cloud down fairly aggro on this A site.
Cajun B proving you wrong. We'll charm in for 1 as AZ works in tandem with Lecro to burn away Deecher from the site itself, leaving Spiddy and Favon to try and claw this one back now. It's a 2v4, of course, an impossible predicament here as it goes from bad to worse. Trading being the aim of the game here for North, and that's exactly what you want to do in this scenario. In a 4v2, all you need to do is whittle down the numbers because you always outnumber them every day of the week. You're going to give it a good go, though. Gets close, but not quite close enough. Doing good damage, but again, it won't be around. 15 to 8.
That's really awkward there as well. Lecro is almost hiding instead of taking the initial fight, not wanting to go down too early. There was actually an option for Speedy to wide swing against the diffuser and eliminate Cajun B sooner rather than later. Instead, it's 15 for North. An almost impossible 1 versus 3 to pull through. And now North, they actually have 7 opportunities to close this out. I said that we were going to go for 16 9s all day, and I haven't been too far off.
It seems to be the case. It's the first time for everything, with you being correct with predictions, but I will hold my breath for this
super
one.
rubbish. I've got a crystal ball, but instead of telling me everything that's going to happen, it's a little bit faulty, I'll be honest. It hasn't been charged in a while. It's, yeah, needs a good clean.
Clearly not the best of tools, but well, let's see if Sprout can do anything here to keep this game alive. Limited weaponry now and limited utility, most importantly. Looks like they have a split side as well. They're going to be putting a bit of pressure towards B to try and bait a rotation in. Easy though immediately with the first kill. I don't think that's going to do much here, to be honest, in the form of rotations. Only bringing in Asian B to the party. There's noise starting to be made elsewhere. I have to be careful though. Gate's starting to consider rotating.
We can see that he should. And with that smoke going down and away, again fairly aggressively, and the first spotted, don't think that there's all too much in the way of utility, just the single Molotov for Gade over in this retake scenario. The bomb goes down fairly safely, and with Snatchy playing nice and aggressive off the corner of this smoke, this becomes a very crucial key gunfight. With Dennis just about getting away with his life, Snatchy being the aggressive prompt to find the initial frags. And there's almost another one. North need to maybe even consider backtracking. I think they're just going to place the smoke down and away and try and gun for these defuses, the initial kills. Lots of kills coming in, but well, there's Faven to save things. 2 quick frags and up to 9 for the Germans.
That was just an all-out brawl on the site, wasn't it? Both teams basically going head first, just fist width from each other. Completely just scrapping out on the site itself. Not what we'd expect them to do when they try to close out the game on the north side, but I think their main mistake there, to be honest, was letting the bomb go down in the first place. They were in a good position to deny that plan, but they actually did fall for the rotate in the end towards the B site. Gade started to move himself off the site, put himself in a rotation position. And the push came in from Sprout. No one was there to actually respond, and that was the main disaster. Once that bomb goes down 4v4, you do pretty much favor Sprout a lot of the time there.
Yeah, that's the big mistake. North really didn't have a lot of utility to play with. We saw only the single incendiary grenade after those initial frags had come through. This time, it's just the Deagles wanting to do the damage. But again, Teacher just spraying through for the first. Should be a fairly clean round, all things considered.
Doing a good job so far of dealing with the pistols, which is the most important thing here at the end of the day for Sprout. They have to just take it round by round at this point. Obviously, if they drop the ball, lose even one, it's over. So for them, it really is just kind of that classic frag by frag, round by round mentality.
And up to double digits is where things start to get a little scarier. North from 9 opportunities to close to 5. Maybe even 4, considering this isn't going to be much of a buy. Somewhat of a double eco here for the Danes. We're getting fairly deep into this first map. Sprite being, I think, quite a bit more successful as we originally thought. Yes, the CT side was a little clumsy. But now actually an option to draw this scoreline a little more level. 5 in a row would secure OT. And there's the easy spray away against the USPSs with only 1 frag as a response. 15-11. Pretty much the guaranteed scoreline, considering that was the full eco from North. We'll see that lovely little AK combination again. Poo, 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 poo.
I can't believe there's just been sound effects. That was glorious.
Yeah. If this game was cartoony, that would be the sound effect that the AK makes.
What would the sound of it be for Favin getting stabbed in the back by his teammate? There you go. There you go, folks. Your daily dose of absolute weirdness has to be said. Oh, Dennis, that's a tough one. In a good position there to really do some damage and gets the kill, but unfortunately for him, he's immediately spotted. In the end, it is trades back and forth, but it will be North that slightly take the edge here. Just 3-on-2. Snatchy deciding, you know what? I'm just going to get aggressive here. Let's see if I can do something. Find an early kill, even out the numbers, but unfortunately for him, North are not in a position to face yet. So very passive play means little to no opportunity.
Also means that this map might be over. Yes, the bomb going down and away, but there come the nades. Great damage dealt. Speedy taken completely cleanly out of the equation. That C4 does go down for Snatchy to try and hit the response, but in a 1 versus 3, I almost cannot see this happening. A flawless flash gives away his position, but that's a blind shot, and wants to rotate and retaliate to the sidelines. And nobody watching for him. Here comes the Deagle, just 1 stroke short, as North, they take 16 instead.
What a game so far. A dominant performance from North in the end. Sprout, definitely credit to them. They stepped up in those final moments to really deliver us a much better performance than we were anticipating. It was 10-1 at one point in this game. This could have been a 16-3, 16-4 at worst here for North. But instead, Sprout, they did bring the fight. They made it more of an even battle, but still North, the better team when it comes to Vertigo. I think that's fair to say. Now we look forward. We look to map 2 of this best of 3, and we wonder, where will this go? It's going to be Dust 2, of course, a favourite of Sprout. A 50% win rate over the last 12 maps they've played in comparison to North. 7 maps at 14%. That is a pretty bleak stat line, folks. You want to find out how this is going to go? Join us right after this very short commercial break, where we'll break down all of the action that's just happened, as well as take you through Dust 2.
shot. Lock and load.
Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. Yeah, no. Woo, damn! That was one of the best tickle fights I've been to.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Eden Arena Malta vibes. We're here with the Week 10 Group D initial matchups with this winners match between Sprite and Team North. Really exciting stuff there on Vertigo, cutting it a little bit close, but realistically, just what the doctor ordered. 1-0 here for North. Now they have two opportunities on Dust 2 and then Nuke to try and finish off this series and secure, pencil their name into the playoffs. Thus far, it hasn't been the most convincing of days for North, considering they are one of our tier 1 teams here in this group stage.
Exactly. It's been a bit here, there, and everywhere for them. They are just generally a little bit hit and miss. And I was actually digging a little bit deeper during the break into some of North's most recent Dust 2 matches within this core lineup. And I have to say, also not very impressive. Basically, the only win they've picked up was against Singularity. That was a 16-5 back in ESL Pro League. Outside of that, nothing. They've been beaten 16-12 by Fours, beaten 16-5 by Heroic, beaten 16-11 by OG. Fours again, another 16-5. It's not been a good situation for North when it comes to Dust 2 over the last 3 months, and that makes this map for me extremely concerning.
Yeah, and definitely having problems looking just at the statistics on that CT side, only taking just above 30% of counter-terrorist rounds. That is a real problem that they need to patch up as we get into this second map of the day. It's the knife round to start us off on Dust 2.
I do love a cheeky knife round. Can't go wrong.
You're going to cast it, aren't you?
It's not going to happen. I mean, I could tell where you were going with that, and it's not today, but...
I baited M&J into casting a knife the other day, and it was terrible.
That's pretty brutal. The poor guy.
He admitted it. That was his words.
They should sub out knife rounds for Zeus rounds. I think someone needs to try that during the online season.
I'm going to speak to Relog management, see if we can get that done. Even if it was just the grand finals. Just grand finals. I think everybody should have a Zeus with just one in the barrel. And then once or 10 shots have been fired, whoever have the most players alive, that's the winner.
Yeah, pretty much. Be a good time. Or just revert back to the classic knife round at that point. It works either way.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. I don't know if AZ's got much of a chance here with that bait.
Yeah, obviously, this is a very intense round. All or nothing.
I like how there are 3 targets there. Misses them all, of course, after making us wait for 30 seconds. Does determine it, though.
Oh, this is the best thing about Dust 2. You can play football.
Oh, it's the football.
Yeah, have you ever played football in a matchmaking game with your opponents?
I've never played football in real life.
Well, that about says it all, doesn't it, really?
I've played a little bit of cheeky football on Dust 2. Where are the goals, though? They don't have actual goals. Sometimes people use those little metal railings, those fences, yeah.
And then it's the fence on the other end as well.
But this football pitch has a big dip.
This is common Dust 2 knowledge.
But look at this big dip. It's unfair.
You're acting like Counter-Strike has physics for the football.
It does, doesn't it? If you popped the football on the ramp, it would really roll away. I remember back in secondary school, people would go out and play football, like county to county and everything. And one of the football pitches, I don't want to give away which one it is because people will trace me down, hunt me, flakes, and send me post right into my letterbox. But one of the football pitches had it was just a slope. It was just a big hill. And that was the football pitch. And then at halftime, so it would be like 9-0 at the end of the half. Then you'd swap around, and then of course the other team would win. Really rubbish.
Well, there you have it, folks. What an enticing, enthralling story that is.
They always say I've got the best stories. My casting is like going to visit your grandparents.
Well, that certainly isn't. Snatchy and Spitty both strike back. It'll be a north entry frag, but an immediate 2 back from Sprout. In the end, they will come out ahead. It is going to be MSL desperately trying to hang on here, but the poor guy stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's got to look long, look short, look up, look down. The man is like a yo-yo, here, there, and everywhere, but unfortunately no fragging power to be seen.
And unfortunately for Lecro, he's got this prod in the back. Dennis definitely has his number. And as he swings out into the open, here goes the Glock to finish him off. 1-0 for Sprite. Pretty convincing pistol, all things considered. Even though they did walk into the triple short stack, North just unable to connect with the shots. Now going for what looks like a fairly wholesome force. At least Gade does. Nobody else buying? What is this, Flakes? What is this trickery?
Yeah, this is a bit of an odd one. Clearly looking to find some value off of the 2 frag grenades, but honestly, with it only being 2, you're kind of banking on some extra damage being done there from the guns. And, well, for a start, the 2 nades do nothing. So it doesn't really make a difference, to be honest. A bit of wasted money there.
Just a little bit of lower trajectory, and maybe they could have eliminated Dyker right off the bat. But apparently not. Just pretty much 0 preliminary damage dealt from North. Puts a lot of pressure on the pistols. Considering they do have a lot of deags in hand, then there is an opportunity, especially with a lot of visual towards the top of short. Just keeping a couple of players towards this A site, trying to bait Sprite into a tricky, sticky situation. But the smokes should really gain them an advantage up ramp towards this A site. I think North are going to be under pressure sooner rather than later. And this is all a matter of when Sprite want to pull the trigger. There's the shot. We've seen Snatchy play a little quiet with this skate thus far today. Dust 2 is a very different map. For that matter, the skate being probably more effective here on Dust than any other map in the pool.
Deagle's going to give it a good go, but unfortunately, Squid, they can't find the needle in a haystack, which is basically the equivalent of trying to find a headshot with those things sometimes. Or like watching you play matchmaking, pick the better reference depending on what side of the fence you're on.
I don't think me and you have played matchmaking. I think we've played a lot of Valorant.
I've heard stories.
You've heard stories? Who told you stories?
Nobody
told you stories.
It was not good insight. Been a pretty tragic performance from what I hear, Squid. You got to up your game.
I'll be honest, I don't play a lot of Counter-Strike nowadays. I like to sit here behind the desk. I've not been putting the hours in. I'm a bit rusty, but Gade certainly isn't. There we go.
If only you could hit that. Not in a million dreams, but maybe one day.
Not that one.
That said, all jokes aside, Sprout 2-0. It's been very comfortable so far as well. They're going to be looking for the third here if possible. As Dennis already finds Gade, that will even out the numbers. Here, just looking to crunch on towards B, using their tunnel's presence to clear out the site. Should be pretty cut and dry, to be honest. Not really much that can be done. Spitty struggling a little bit with the lock in hand. And Dennis actually gets tapped down by the USP, so this will become quite a costly round here if they're not careful. Snatchy on 1 HP too. This could well go the way of North if Sprout don't start to put it together. Seems like all has been restored though, and the bomb down as well. I don't think Lecro can do much more here.
No, maybe saving this Deagle might be his best bet. I'm unsure if there is a rifle towards short, towards the middle of the map. Sprites haven't been on cleanup duty thus far. And Mac-10 wasn't really the reward that Lecro was looking for. I can't imagine him carrying this SMG through to round number 4, considering he has the opportunity to buy up towards the M4. Doesn't look like much bonus damage can be dealt here. Oh. Well, hold the phone. Is Snatchy gone? And that's actually a fairly successful round for North, all things considered. That was a fairly full eco for them. 3 kills, definitely good enough to keep the Sprite economy on the back foot. See, just no real opportunity to gain this money up for anybody other than Speedy and Daicha. We've got about 10,000 between the two of them. Everybody else on just a couple of grand each.
Here to do some damage. He catches Deecher on the exit along. Dennis should be able to secure a trade here, but completely blind. Walks out looking like a lost lamb. That's a disaster. Gade, a double kill pulled out of the bag.
North have pretty much all of the information right now. There's Lazy just to capitalize off the back of it. The Snatchy's AWP does nail one. Sprite have a lot more work to be done if they are going to get this bomb down and away. And well, there it's dropped onto shorts. Yes, Speedy can go back for it, but there's no real open opportunity onto the A side of things, especially with MSL holding down the line. And that's North's first. More importantly, a fairly convincing round there. Changing up the pace, going for the double AWP setup. I really do like this from North. I think that if they are going to win this second map of the day, it's down to this double AWP setup on the CT side. We see AZ, not really a commonality with a sniper. He's probably just going to be holding it towards B plat on the ramp, just trying to go for those easier shots. Instead, he is actually peering towards mid and temporarily taking Snatchy off the AWP. He's right back with the sniper. This is a gunfight that I don't really want to see Speedy taking towards the middle of the map, but nonetheless. I think Sprite need to play quite a more coordinated game. We saw some disjointed Counter-Strike there in the fourth with a couple of players just sprawling out of the double doors, being nicely contained. MSL Zor nicely able to finish everybody else off, but without the information in hand, Gade surprisingly finds that shot, and there's the help out. Almost a handout.
That is absolutely disgusting, Square. To spray through the mid-door smokes. It was so bad, it literally made me choke. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Never what you want in a game of Counter-Strike. Really good game sense, though, from Lecro to follow it up. I just love that from him. Knowing that somebody from Sprite is probably going to try and trade that kill through, knowing Gade is probably isolated. Nevertheless, a 3 versus 4. And through the corner of the smoke, Speedy's able to nail another one. And with the AWP in a very precarious position, Hazy's almost left on his own. Lecro smoked completely out of bounds, and Sprite might be able to push it over the top. Still smoked off. Lecro, no positional advantage. Might even have to save the AK here, Flakes. Does find one, and there's Snatchy to finish. 4-1 here for Sprite. That puts the North economy back in a really polarized spot. AZ doesn't have enough money to go for the buy. Almost everybody else does. Here's the difference maker. Do they decide to force up into this 6th? I think maybe they do. I'm not sure. There's the pistol. Pretty much counts me out.
Such an odd round, all things considered. I mean, we talked about how odd it was in mid. Getting 2 kills early on for North is huge. Then how quickly it falls away from them on the site. I felt like they were in a great position there, but no one seemed to want to bite the bullet and go when they were doing their retake. They seemed like they were all waiting for something. And well, I suppose the question is, what were they waiting for?
Yeah, realistically, those smokes really held them at bay for an incredibly long time. I think the difference maker was MSL getting punished with the AWP. He missed a very key and really routine first shot. Sometimes looking onto short, you don't have the easiest job as an AWPer, but you have to hit those shots. You can't just give away a bomb plant for 3, especially in a 5 versus 3 where you hold all of the cards, massive advantage. You just give Sprite away right back into this one. in a round that North should have realistically won. Now we'll likely see the scoreline resort to 5-1. Pretty good start, all things considered, for the German-Polish mix.
Ooh, love that from KGB. Classic Deagle action. Brings me back to the glory days 2017 North. Third. Like Crow. I'm going to take down Dennis. And that brings us one step closer to North success here. Unfortunately, though, their weaponry starts to play a key part. Snatcher using the AWP there to take the longer range duel. This is good for one. Gate now could just kind of fade away in the smoke and get a free kill here. And he will actually. So, highly critical. So, Deacher getting tagged out as well. I think North might well be in good stead here, Squid.
Yeah, they've got complete control of the short position. Gade is still a problem maker towards Elevator. Could very easily jump up and cause problems on this A site. Just watching these smokes right now. Faven's got the wrong angle. Here comes the AK as Gade should be able to finish off the job with another 2. Great triple there. Just staying like a silent assassin inside the elevator, springing the trap when Sprite least expect. And that is a second on the board for North. Really pivotal round to take. 3 players surviving as well means easy trade up to rifles. Cajun B back with the AWP. Expect that to get dropped to MSL, and means even though that was an eco, this will be fairly minimal investments for North. North still had loads of bank going into that one. So, well, we can see that Gade, MSL, AZ almost have enough for reinvestments in number 8 if they lose this. Still a polarized economy, but this is an opportunity back into the counter-terrorist side.
Now they just have to do something with it. That's the thing. You win a huge round like that. The tale of heartbreak is usually then what follows, which is you do nothing with it. You immediately get shut down by, you know, a bunch of rifles, Tech 9s and whatnot, and it's job done for Sprout, 5-2. What we want to see them is actually be more like a honeymoon period. We want North to push forward and have some good success here, ideally. They have the clear firepower advantage after all.
Gade is completely stuck in the open, and MSL supposedly mixing everything. The Tech 9 fully blind is instantly eviscerated, and MSL finally nails a shot, but no follow-up. Still a messy 2 versus 3, with Sprite bailing to B. The flashes through mid to delay the rotations, and North seemingly have no idea that this is coming through. There's the easy cross for Spiddy there. The bomb can very nicely go down, and this B site flakes is not easy to retake.
It's one of the hardest sites in the game to retake, in fact.
Ooh.
It really is.
Such a close
go
nade.
flying. This is very close. Push comes in, having a beautiful spot here, starts to let rip with the Galil, ends up connecting it, and that's a huge frag to find, as it's actually Gade that's still standing there, meaning that full HP player is the one that falls. Fathom becomes last man standing. It's Cajun B that did it all himself. One man, single-handedly, gets in, finds the player towards car, immediately deals with sight as well. Beautifully done. It does mean North can keep it rolling.
Well, there's your Hellcase code. Malta V or Malta V15 for those bonuses. If you're over 18, like a little gamble, you can head over to Hellcase and take full advantage of those ones. Gamble nice and responsibly. 4-3 on the board. And realistically there, I feel like the Galil did need to find both of those shots. It's a lot of it's a massive burden when you're playing over behind that car position, those hay bales. It's really quite difficult. You need to connect with the shots. Just unable to nail both. And just fairly unfortunate timing as well, as Spiddy wanted to go for the response through window. There was just absolutely no opportunity with Cajun B getting the damage done, baiting out the attack. And MSL is finally starting to show up here. Connecting with a couple of shots over here in round 8. And there's another one, partially blinded. MSL's hitting everything. These flashbangs null and void. And the pistol's completely crumbling to the captain.
That's MSL proving that he's at it once again. He's been really a mainstay, to be honest, of North today. I've been really impressed. Again, maybe I'm just discrediting him, but he's not a player that when I think of North, I go, MSL is going to be the player that frags out. But today he has been. He's been doing really well against a couple of these teams and definitely been a key piece with that AWP as well.
Yeah, and even though the quantity of frags haven't always been there, the quality certainly has been. Able to take us over the top against Saw in that first map. The same scenario on Vertigo against Sprite as well. He certainly has been a big member. There with a nice Molotov frag to trade Dietrite. And with Lecro very low on HP, still open opportunities for Sprite.
The big thing here is that North are left long completely open. As for it gets worrying, they need that short presence. MSL needs to get himself back up and watching the cross now, otherwise the site is already going to be the retake. He's just got there in the time. That timing is huge. Dennis will be able to chase him down, but that frag grenade should do some good damage as well. Molly soon to follow. That might actually do just enough to delay the plant by North. Crucial seconds to get set up for the retake here.
Thankfully, Sprite have gone for this cross, and there's another smoke grenade there just to ensure that bomb goes down with minimal damage dealt to Dennis. And Snatchy, the man with the plan, does it yet again. Lecro's easily dealt with, and now AZ might even consider saving that AWP on short for MSL. Their money, it's in an okay state, so maybe even wants to pitch into this one in the 1 versus 2, especially with the AWP dropped. Wants to gun in for this one, but here comes the timing for Sprite. They're going to peek this. Fairly coordinated, a little bit disjointed, I guess. But Faven finds it nonetheless. 5-4, and Sprite are back to winning ways.
Only just, though, still one round of the difference. And really the thing here is, where can North have their success? Will it be the T side? Probably. I think that's going to be where they're going to be most comfortable on this map, which is already, we know, not the greatest for them. So I wonder how many rounds do North need, if that's going to be the case on their CT side, to have enough to play with going for the second half. Is 4 or 5 going to do the trick?
No.
There you go. There's the answer.
Yeah, unfortunately so. We actually spoke about North's CT-sided win rate earlier. Only 31%, just shy of that. Guess that is about 4 rounds when you cut and slice it. Also, very, very bad, if you haven't noticed. I can't think of any map in the whole pool that you can perhaps thrive only taking 31% of your CT rounds.
Not many, to be honest.
Not any. That second smoke is really funky there. I don't know what that's designed to do. I guess maybe evade the jump spot. Maybe it's a complete whiff. I'm really not sure. Maybe it's trying to count MSL's AWP redundant. Nevertheless, him missing that initial shot, it's a bit of a fake towards the B side, but being nicely contained by this Gade AZ combo. Everybody showing up to the party for North. Everybody finding a pick a piece. Asian B just needs to find one for the team ace. This is so done and dusted. Snatchy just has to save this AWP.
Give you some damage here on exits as well, it seems.
That is disappointing. Cajun. Someone wake him up.
Not ideal. I think an extra millisecond there and Snatchy in fact gets that kill, so not ideal.
I think an extra 10 minutes in the DM server. Cajun probably finds that frag. That's the thing that I've always felt about Cajun, to be honest. He is a very streaky player. Sometimes he can hit absolutely nuts shots, and then occasionally missing the very easy ones. There are quite a few players in CS who fall into that category, but he is one that definitely stands out to me, is somebody who occasionally completely whiffs. A lot of very simple stuff. Yeah, that was definitely one of them.
MSL strikes again, though, putting that AWP to good use. Ekes out a further advantage here. The north side puts them in a 5 versus 3, of course. Malta does one better before finally being hammered down by those pistols. Gate hanging on by an absolute thread, but we'll get it done. The north maintain the lead here, which is, it has to be said, Squid, I think a bit of a surprising feat.
Yeah, 100%. I wasn't expecting North to even finish this half with 6 rounds. They've definitely shown up, and looking at their rotates and how their CT side has been posed, in comparison to their results pre-player break, they seem to be putting up a much better affair. Maybe they've spent a lot of time here on Dust 2. Of course, in the current iteration of CS, it's a really important map to actually find your bearings on. And for North, I think that was a massive weakness in their pool. They will be going to Dust 2 in a lot of series. And here today, they're putting up quite a good result against Sprout. A couple of kills early on do get traded. But with AZ still sat as the overseer of this B bomb site, where does Sprout go? Yes, they've thinned out the defense, but it seems to be straight towards short, where they'll challenge MSL once again.
I love this, though. This is creative. No one there for them to contest against, but I like the initiative nonetheless. MSL will get into position. That's a shot I would have liked to have seen him find. Instead, not going to happen. Lekr, though, quick on the hills. Lekr painting the Mona Lisa for a second there around Fathom, but finally connects the much-needed shots. And I think that does just enough to seal the deal. Each are going through the fire and the flames to secure this bomb plant in the end. And, well, with the flashes and they seem to follow, he shouldn't last much longer.
Yeah, that was more awkward than the teenager's first dates. Easy stuff for Lekr to finish him off there. Nice little 2v1 conversion. And 7-5 being the scoreline. MSL, you pointed it out, Flakes. He's missed a couple of those easy shots on short and actually given Sprout a way into this A bomb site a couple of times. I think that might actually be the weak point here for this defense. If MSL is going to carry on playing some streaky CS, then maybe challenging him might be the better option. There in a 4 versus 2 and then the 3 versus 2, you kind of felt like North had that one in the bag, and they absolutely did, even with MSL missing crucial key shots. Unfortunately, Flakes, at this level of play, you have to hit bullet number 1 with the AWP, otherwise you're gonzo.
Yeah, pretty much is the case. Perfection is the only thing required. Anything less is simply not enough a lot of the time. North are able to scrape through, though, and to be fair, can't handle him for missing 1 or 2 shots when he's also delivered quality in plenty of rounds prior. So, you know, at the end of the day, for North, it's about looking forward, isn't it? 7 rounds on the board. You're in the lead on a CT side. I would have told you that was impossible. Now you got to continue to prove us wrong. Charge forward, get yourself another 3 rounds, put yourself on the board at 10-5. Give yourself a fighting chance to close out that game on your T side.
Absolutely. We know that the T side for North is actually their better half. Here, they've obviously put some hard work into this CT half here on Dust 2. And, well, that's a lot of early damage dealt to Teacher, to Speedy. They have taken mid control, and MSL does fall again. That is becoming a bit of a problem here for North. Maybe over-aggressing ever so slightly, and with that B bomb site being contested, AZ needs to be very careful. He's stood out in the open, and maybe taking up a B tons might be the way to go here. Ooh.
Well, that's huge from Cajun B. The sickest flick I've ever seen, at least today. Speedy shut out of the server. More to be done, though. Unfortunately, that's where Deecher comes into play, and with the AWP falling short, a sick flick turned down under. With Sprout over on the B side, I don't see a retake here possible. Lekr 9 HP means AZ is pretty much a one-man army here, so an instant save called, and that will be all. Sprout, they progress to 6 rounds on the board.
There's no point in even thinking about exits here for North. They can just scrape by enough money to go for a full investment in the upcoming 14th round. It's one that they have to take. Otherwise, Sprite, they'd be favored to take an 8-7 half. Here on Dust 2, that's definitely good enough. And that would apply the pressure once again to North, where they will then have to take maybe the pistol, a couple of early rifle rounds, just to really cling on. We're not in touch and go territory just yet. But if the Germans can get up to 7, 8... then this definitely becomes a more competitive, contested half.
Where things really start to heat up a little bit, though, isn't it? One round the difference. North, an opportunity still to secure the half.
Oh. That was a tag.
And there's the kill. That's a disaster. They good for one, but immediately traded by the aggression response from Sprout. Oh, what you want to see. If you're a North fan right now, 3v3. Sprout with the advantage here, and it's going to be... Who's that, Dennis going through mid as MSL gets aggressive through long tunnels. It's trades again. It works out. A bit of nip and tuck for both sides. And Molly's just deep enough as well, where I don't know if MSL is going to be worried about it. It just runs on away. Oh,
yeah, MSL actually got slapped with that Molotov right there. It meant that he had to fall back. His Snatchy had all of the information. And now he wants to peek into the captain once again. It doesn't work out.
I think the Molly was just deep enough, though, that he could actually get out of tunnels. I think trapping him would have been potentially a more interesting play there, because that's when you know he's behind that door, that's the only place he can be. It's a pretty easy kill to find.
Awkward stuff. 8-6. North, give themselves a chance to get onto 9 in this half. Snatchy doesn't connect with the double door cross this time, and that's another opening frag whiffed as North do take full control of this long area. Fade is spotted, and there's the Famas to finish. Lovely stuff, and now they want to go for the double peaks onto even more. Very disjointed stuff from Sprite. They're not peeking together whatsoever, and they lose both players as a result.
Yeah, that's really just disjointed play and a complete disaster yet again, unfortunately, for Sprout. And this is where things get costly. You're looking at giving North a potential 9-6 here, which is actually a really good result for them on their CT side. If they can live up to their individual play on that T side, they might have just enough to get this through. It's a big if, but I think it's an if worth fighting for if you have the chance to take this better 3-2-0.
Lecro is left isolated with the rotates miles away. If he doesn't find one frag and delay, then there's an opportunity that this bomb easily goes down on the B site. There's a nice spray down to hit both kills. And Idicha, a 1 versus 3. Yes, the AWP in hand, but doesn't spot anything towards the middle of the map. Now he's going to be forced by all approaches, with MSL in the back lines missing a very key shot. Gives him a way back into this, but the crossover seals his fate. That's up to 9 for North.
What a half. It has to be said. I just want to really skip forward now and dive right into the gun rounds on the second half, to be honest. I think there could be something really interesting about this map all of a sudden. I'm really shocked that North are able to eke out a lead here.
Yeah, the pistol round just got very, very important for both teams. For North, I guess they can try and close it out earlier if they do take this pistol. For Sprite, it's almost a must-win to get back on that scoreboard, to disallow North from getting to double digits and beyond. Of course, Sprite, that was a really weak half, all things considered. They did take their pistol on the T side, and then only 3 gun rounds as of that point. Bit wonky there for their terrorist half, which we don't often see. We saw a really great T side out of their nuke just a little earlier today, but not really coming to the server for this second map. and does give North a way in, an option, an open door for a 2-0, which I don't think either of us were really expecting in this series. Just look at that scoreboard as well, Flakes. 18 kills for Gade, who I don't feel like we've mentioned his name all too many times. We've been banging on about MSL's AWP over on the A-bomb site. 15 kills for him. And AZ, the man who's been topping the tables since the start of the day, is actually bringing up the rear in this one. So nice to see as he starts to go back to sleep, other people are filling his shoes.
Also what you want to see, though, isn't it? At the end of the day, when one player's not quite there, someone else is able to step up. Without that, you have a team who are very inconsistent and will struggle to perform at the highest level. If you can have that, you have a team who are a much more powerful force.
See those odds
The
there as
pistol
well.
round is all the more important, isn't it? I mean, imagine if North find this. Imagine they can get themselves into an 11-6 type scenario. I'm really quite dumbfounded by this game so far. North have been done an impeccable job on their T side. Have to give it to them.
Yeah, and that was the big problem maker coming into this series. Just really, really weak CT-sided performances. And now they've got to get the job done. 7 will put them over the top on this terraced half. That's a lovely flashbang, but only temporarily blinds the pair of players. And Snatchy sticks around for a little too long. The nade does finish off Letcrow. Nice trade. And with AZ fairly low on HP, slight advantage Sprite. Before this peak comes through, Faven's still there to hold up the cross. And that aggressive smoke means, well, he can get in sooner rather than later. There's a secondary headshot. Knows exactly where Gade is playing from, just lingering on the ramp. That smoke might give him a slight bit of instant cover, but he has to hit all of the headshots right now, and he's only good for one. Now MSL in the back lines. I don't think that C4's planted for him, and it doesn't matter anyway. Sprite up to 7, an incredibly crucial key pistol round.
That keeps the game alive. It gives us something to really see now. Sprout put North under pressure. What makes us even more dicey, though, Swid, is take a look at the money over on that T side. It's being spent.
Splash that cash. Make it rain. It's exactly what happens when you get the bomb down on this T side. You can often squeak out even a slightly better buy than Sprite. You see the Galils come into hand. I thought there was actually an AK there for a second, but apparently not. It's the Deagles instead. And what you see is a buy comparable to this Sprite side. They've got 3 MP9s in play. A couple of M4A4s in hand as well. This is looking a little touch and go. As this MP9 actually on A for Snatchy, this is certainly not the best position for it. He needs to allow North to get closer and closer, and it seems to be Dennis just raking away the forces. Lots of damage dealt. Snatch's MP9 pitches through long-range shots, leaving Cajun B on his lonesome.
Yeah, he's really nowhere to be seen as well. He's about 20 seconds behind the rest of the action, which is pretty disappointing, unfortunately. He's going to try and make the best of it, but cannot land a Deagle shot, unfortunately, and that becomes a relatively cut and dry 8th round for Sprout, to be honest, and well, yeah, it's a little disappointing how that plays out. You expect to see Cajun B just a little bit more hot on the tail of his team there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely so. You need those trades absolutely at the ready, especially when you're only playing against a pair of MP9s on the A site. You see Dennis getting away with murder down towards the CT spawn, raking everybody away. And realistically, North unable to hold up on that short push, which classically is quite a fast, prompty assault towards that site. Get the bomb down nice and fast, but giving away way too much information, poking out with your heads. and the MP9 is even going to be able to easily sweep you away. This time, without the buy in hand, Sprite should be able to take this back to 9 in flakes. Then we've got a game on our hands.
Yeah, I think what we're really looking to now is going to be that first gun round, isn't it? Seeing exactly how that is going to play out. As for now, it certainly seems like nothing will take place at all. Could this be a 1 minute long save? I mean, that would be a potential tactic. That, or they're looking, praying, in fact, that someone waltzes into their arms. Cajun B having the opposite effect, hoping to find someone. Instead, he's the one that gets found. Same for AZ in the end. It will be 9-9.
Sprite are waking up right now, evening up that scoreline. Now it's down to what their defense can hold. There's the opportunity to get an AWP into Snatchy's hands, and in fact, it's 2 for the counter-terrorists. Faven also picking one through. Dust 2, that double sniper setup is very viable. Put one towards mid / that B bomb site, the other watching the cross towards short. And with MSL rendered completely blind by those smokes, this is a funky tactic for Team Sprite. A lot of long presence. North not really going towards that side of the map. Long is often heavily contested by both teams. It's a nice jump mark. It's a nice bounce pad to get onto that A site. Just those longer distance engagements. And that was a tag from MSL. Lovely stuff to put Speedy down to 16.
Snatch in position to try and do some damage on short. Lets one rip and immediately drops off. It's a wartime flashbang from North. Looks like it is going to be immediate pressure towards A, but with so much time on the clock, they're not going to force the issue just yet. Instead, starting to prod back towards the center of mid. It looks like they eventually will still be looking for short in the end, but I like the fact they've at least not just completely centered up short. Going to be a tad more calculated in their approach here. Problem is, they are also using a lot of time where Sprout will just set up and ready and waiting for this, to be honest. You've already got the flank coming in from behind. This is a bit of a disaster. It really does feel like North are just not set up in prime position here. Now going to try and force it back towards B. If we can see a stray headshot come through on towards Spiddy, there is a chance. But he's got a huge job and he's got a great angle for it with your perfect flashbang. Will force him back to the side, so at least keeps him alive for a little bit longer as the push comes through. Spiddy immediately taken down, and North, Mike, you've just pulled this one back from the brink.
That's quite a trigger to pull. And with the smokes going down in a way, that might render this retake lifeless. As Sprite already want to save this double sniper setup. Going into round number 20, keeping that double AWP alive is oh so important. We didn't really see it pay dividends here in the 19th. But every opportunity with a little bit of money behind them, they can actually go for the full buy behind this one. And North can be challenged once again. Their first T-sided round, I've got to say, they're actually lucky that Sprite decided to put Speedy on just 16 points of health alone towards that B side of the map. 0 support, and as he goes down, that renders the round over. There's every opportunity for North to plant that bomb, force either a difficult retake or an obvious save. 10 to the Danes. And now only 6 will finish. This is the breaking point for the Sprite economy. They don't have any bank behind this buy. Of course, they have to buy up fairly full utility. Snatchy not going for a Molotov as well, just keeping a little bit of bank for his buck behind. He wants the AWP at every opportunity, knowing they might have to eco next, but then he can get that sniper in hand once again. And it doesn't have to be this double eco, considering they've lost one already, Flakes. That loss bonus will already be at the $2,400 mark as of round number 22. So we will see maximum buy potential for Sprite.
Snatchy in position to try and do some damage, but once more, it's another missed shot. Not able to connect it. It's a pretty difficult one to find, to be fair. But not able to connect it nonetheless means that North maintain an advantage, but there's the crucial pick. Takes down MSL on his advance up short, and slows down the momentum of North, who have really struggled, I think, to find their groove here on their T side early on and get a good opening set to the round. That's another example of a disastrous route, though. There's the B site. It should be under wraps, but instead, 2 kills on the crossfire immediately found. A third indoor as well. Squid, how does this happen?
I really don't know. North looked previously like they had lost a lot of their bite as the halves switched. Nevertheless, they're finding all of the kills. AZ doing a great job, not really in this 20th round, but definitely in the previous prior, connecting with those all-important headshots and really turning the tide for North. They finally forced Sprout into eco territory. This won't be a rifle round in the next. An opportunity to get on to 12, and then it's all to play for to try and close this series out 2-0. Faven could even go down here with the AWP. Way too many targets to find. There goes the sniper. And North with just 5 rounds needed to close this series out.
What a game. What a game. You can see folks in the top right, 16-11 in map 1. Now we're here at 11-9. North maybe just have a chance. Just maybe. Marcel peering down through mid. Got to try and be the man that gets this job done here against these pistols. He'll try and chase him down, but he whips out the Glock and he's going to finish them all off. Finally falls. That's where Favon picks it up, but then immediately put to rest. And KGB just needs to sprint it over, grab it all, but it's job done for North. 12-9.
I think that we've got to remember that North have just taken a really long break before getting back into the action. And whereas Dust 2 previously was a pretty shaky map for them, they've just taken almost 2 months off Flakes with only playing the 9-5-3 playoffs in that long break. And that was only 2 best-of-3s worth of Counter-Strike in a single elimination playoffs. And realistically, I feel like this break might have benefited them. It's very early to actually tell this, but if Dust 2 is going to slip back into their map pool and perhaps a couple of other maps have tightened up the screws, going back to the drawing board is often a really positive thing for a team in a slump. And I really don't know if you could have said that North were in a slump. They didn't show us many results this year or last year, but going back a little bit into Counter-Strike history, they're definitely no aliens to the tier 1 scene, and that's what they're vying for and aiming for. And here in the Malta vibes, they are one of the favorites, the big brands here in this tournament. They need to put up big results to justify equally as big paychecks.
Yeah, certainly critical that they do perform well with such a big name behind them as well. Of course, the pressure is going to be on their shoulders, but also I think, we find with a lot of these big teams, they support them through thick and through thin. So at the end of the day, North might not have had the greatest of results recently, but they are still pushing to cement themselves as one of the best of the best. In order to get there, they need to work their way through this level of competition right now. It's Sprouts, their main opposition, and they're doing a bloody good job of dismantling them in this round. With 5v2, just in the time it would take me to click my fingers, Squid. This is looking very good.
Really swift stuff. That was a massively coordinated push there onto the A bomb site. You saw Deecher instantly getting caught off guard and all of the pieces falling around him. North got way too close to that A-bomb site way too quickly. Snatchy's AWP unable to get anything done, not even finding the first supportive shot. And as of then, North just pile driving on top of that A-bomb site. A fairly flawless round. They won't be going for too aggressive a hunt here. Yes, you've got that Cage and B combination moving in from upper apps, but with Faven holding down the line, it doesn't really need to peek into this one, but finds both nonetheless. Wow, this is where things get really touch and go, Flakes. The money is looking pretty terrible for Sprouts. This is going to be, I guess, an eco around this pair of saved rifles. Really messy round.
Dennis nearly takes an opportunity there, but instead met from the arms of MSL. He's happy to let him in. Easy pickings. more to be found as well as AZ finds Dicho. And as we said, AZ really starting to wake up as well, who the first half, I remember him being on something like 4 or 5 kills, like really not having a good time. Certainly starting to find his form.
And realistically, that means that he stepped up on every single map, because their CT side of Dust was realistically the only time that he's gone quiet in the whole of today's series, including that best of 1 against Sauron Vertigo a little earlier on. This is a very one-sided performance at this point. We're thinking a 14-9 with both of these rifles being eviscerated from the CT spawn. For Faven to backtrack, he needs to find this kill onto Cajun B and bail. Yes, he's being chased down by a hail of gunfire, but nothing connecting means an AK-47 can be saved. Unless he walks into MSL's AWP, I guess he's just going to stick around on the B site. Wait for North to come to him. So Flakes, what is Sprout's way back into this one? Because this is really not looking too good.
I think I don't know where this has come from North. It's all of a sudden gone from close and contested rounds to a 5v2 in 30 seconds. It's really just out of nowhere North have managed to shift into 6th gear, and it feels like they've gone from pulling 180 to now they're blasting down the highway 280 miles an hour, hair blown in the wind sort of thing. It's really looking like a whole different team right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We've seen a lot of pace from them. Everybody seems to be finally hitting their shots. Nobody massively lagging behind on this scoreboard. We talked about AZ. He's had, quite a hotly contested couple of rounds here on this T side. And a big reason that North have been able to pull this forward to 14. They've not just found 6th gear, but a new gear here on Dust 2. And they might be able to close it out 2-0. As once again, they prioritize short. The bomb is stacked towards this side of the map. Yes, they've got the AK-47 of Gade stuck inside the B tons as an insurance policy. And Dennis finally does rack up a kill.
He's getting them one step closer to competing here. Spilly finding Gade puts the advantage further in play here for the Sprout side. There is more to be done though, still only a 5-on-3, but this time it does favour Sprouts. Like the avenue of attack is going to be 2-1, a long split.
Right here, they need to find Dicha incredibly quickly. He's stuck behind these double doors, has quite a big advantage.
Check for him. He does have a little bit of a whiff, but without checking for him, it's pretty much a disaster. AZ becomes last man standing. He'll fall pretty swiftly. It will be 14-10. Sprout, they keep it alive. 4 rounds needed to tie things up. North can just scrape together a full buy here. Thankfully, they've got Gade, who could probably bankroll the team. AZ a little bit as well. So it's not all that bad.
Yeah, it really isn't. We will see an absolutely full wholesome buy with all of the utility and trimmings come out here in number 25. Whereas Sprout, they're not going to be necessarily challenged for economy here in this one. The double AWP setup making a reappearance, considering they didn't drop any in the previous prior round. This gives them one final opportunity to burst back a couple on the board. And realistically, Flakes, they need 5 out of 6 to take this to OT. All 6 in a row to win this in regulation. Definitely possible on a map like Dust, but these AWPs really need to come alive. Faven and Snatchy actually stuck at the top of that scoreboard, along with Dicha here. Oh. Man, that's quite a blow.
That is a pretty tasty shot to find, isn't it? Especially when it's not just one kill, it's a second as well. It really does set you up for success here, as Sprout definitely want to claw their way back in and hope to tie things up. Still doable for North, though. That said, they were able to find Faven after all. Question is, can Snatchy catch them on the cross? Looks like Snatchy can't, but Dicha can. Oh, MSL, quick as lightning. That's a huge skill to find. The numbers are evened out. Now it's all about looking behind. I just keeping my eyes peeled on MSL for a second. The Spinny is going to be slipping in from behind. There's the first kill coming through. Flash comes out as well. KGB makes a sprint to the CT area, and he might just have got away with it. Holds the cross. Lovely headshot. That is wild.
That is so unnecessary. Snatchy, he's got all of the cards and decides to jump up on the double box there on the A bomb site, giving MSL a way back into this one. After such a lovely collateral to start off proceedings, you'd have thought that he would have just held serve on the A site, used that crossfire that was in place, and instead he gives North an opportunity. 5 match points. And can you even imagine them letting go of this trigger right now? 15-10. Sprite need all of the remaining regulation rounds to take us to OT. And North, they're knocking on death's door in this series.
The Molotov nipping at the feet of Lecro there. I really am quite dumbfounded that North have been able to make it so far. They've done an impeccable job at Dust 2. It has to be said. Only their second win, potentially, if they can get this over the line, that is. They've found in the last 3 months on this map. And a great time to do it too. Gets themselves that guaranteed playoff spot. There's already the push comes through. Snatchy grabs first blood. Dennis looking for more as he decides to start getting aggressive with the SMG, but the fire reveals his position. Here comes an easy trade.
This is still an awkward scenario. Occasion B, yes, he negotiates his way onto short, and now with the potential to hold this bomb down in a way. They know exactly where Faven's playing from, and the kills come through for the CTs. That is quite the retake. All 3 frags found. Snatchy doing a lot of the heavy lifting there with 3 kills on that AWP. Sprite, they now need 4 to get to OT.
Or more needed. It's a big ask. Yep, side forward than those. They really are starting to crack the bank of North.
Is this not going to be a Biflakes?
I don't think it can be. I think you would half buy probably here at best. I don't think you can buy here. Not with Gade and Lecro especially being low.
Is that they have a lot of confidence in their gun rounds, going for full Glocks in a round like this. Just the one Deagle as well to buffer up this buy. Should be a clean shut away, with Gade only finding 1. It's definitely a throwaway round right there. I'm actually surprised that North decide to go for the full eco in a round like that, considering, yeah, Gade and Lecro, they've got 37 and 3,900 apiece, but I think AZ started it off with $6,500. Now they've got a bit of excess bank. I guess with the loss bonus trickling up, means that they can afford, of course, a full buy in this 28th, and then also maybe even a full buy in the next. I'm not really sure. I think the goal is just to close this out in 1 round.
Star from Dennis. Not quite the duel that the family wants to be losing, though. Has to be said. For a second there, I thought we would be looking at a 5-on-2 in just, what, 30 seconds? That's nice from Snatchy. It does keep things comfortably in favour of Sprout, though. As the 4v2 sets in, Spiddy becomes the one man to watch as he is the gatekeeper of this B site.
Stood away, all out in the open, able to connect with both shots. Also had Snatchy right behind to hold up the line if needed. And now, a pretty identical situation as before as far as the money's concerned. This was really the little doublet of frags that put Sprout ahead. And now we're definitely looking like overtime could be a possibility here for the Germans. North deciding not to eat any sort of tactical pause, instead just our half by here in round number 29. He's going to have a lot of excess cash going into the next. I guess he picks up an AWP, perhaps for MSL. Will be a full buy in the next, but this should be another sweep away for Sprout.
Easy opens things up on towards Dennis, chasing down Deacher as well. Rifle and pit is a good position to be in there when pistols are chasing you, because frankly the AK has some pretty tasty firepower. It will eventually trade him down, but not before he cracks a frown by the Sprout side. That leaves Cajun B last man standing with 3 up against him.
Yeah, his only opportunity to scramble out of pit was before that smoke had dissipated. And now I'd really like to see a tactical timeout for North. This scoreline has come back along the line incredibly quickly, considering, was this 15-9 or 15-10? Still a very one-sided showing for North. And now, as close as it can possibly be, round 30, the final in regulation before we go to either OT or Sprite bust out of this upper bracket and have to face, well, the winner of that losers matchup. That's coming next. Let's see if North can push it over the line. Lower B tons to start things off. AZ with a powerful angle. I don't think he's spotted out the AWP of Snatchy here. And as he watches towards this lower position, Snatchy finds one, and he's not quite done. There's the tag as well to knock AZ to 22.
MSL gonna go hunting. Looks like a shark stalking his prey, looking for his next feast. But unfortunately for him, he's no longer the apex predator he used to be. Snatchy has his number every day of the week, it seems. Overtime may well be on the cards here. There's already a 3v5 sets into motion. Your scoreline, like concrete, it's set and it won't move up or down. I certainly don't think they're going to be able to get this one done at this point. Not like this, at least. Maybe they can get their incredible B-site take to work through again. And we've seen a couple times in the past where out of nowhere you flick your fingers, they get a double kill on B just like that. If they can take the site, it's around possible. Not even completely blind. Flashes come through. Gay gets the first, but Favon lets rip. It ends up coming a 2-for-2 trade. It will not be enough. We are going to overtime.
OT in Group D's first best of 3. 15-15 as North, well, they blow away 5 rounds in a row for this to go all of the way. And Sprite, they're not out of this series yet. Still the opportunity to take us to Nuke. And once Sprite actually got the full buy in hand, I know that they did lose a couple of initial rifle rounds in the middle of this second half. But yeah, 5 in a row to finish that one off. A 6th just before, after only North takes one. Pretty awkward scenario, all things considered. I do wonder if North, if they had played the economy a little more aggressively, if they could have squeaked out another buy. I really don't know if that would have been the difference maker. Probably not. Either way, we'll see bonus rounds here on Dust 2. Something I was not expecting as of that pretty hefty lead, all things considered. It was 14-9 for North, 15-10, and just unable to close it out once again. They had a couple of issues closing on Vertigo earlier, getting, well, substantially ahead, then blundering a couple of rounds to bring it back. That first map of our day, 16-11. Of course, we saw the best of ones just before that. Remember, Flakes, Nuke on the cards next. I would say that that's maybe even the home map for Sprite. They've got to get there first. But this is obviously overtime, a change of pace, an opportunity to flex your muscles with $16,000 in the bank accounts. I would love $16,000 in my bank account. I'll tell you that much.
I just think that have North been better on the full buys? I actually think they have been pretty good when they've not had to worry about money. That's when they are able to kind of play with confidence. So I do wonder if overtime could work out quite nicely for them because of that. It's really hard to predict where this is going to go, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the saving grace for Sprite has probably been Snatchy's AWP finally coming alive for the CT side. just holding down short pretty routinely there against North. And remember, pretty much just punishing them away from that side of the map. North seemed a little scared to go for those A takes in the last 3 or 4 rounds, after that being the commonality. And of course, Snatchy's going to have the AWP opportunity in all 3 of these OT rounds here. And then going onto his T side, he'll have it again. Standard stuff here at the start of the first round of the first half of OT. Mid control for North, not aggressing through double doors, just holding all of these portions of the map, waiting for any aggression, which realistically we haven't seen too much from Sprout this series. They've been holding serve, keeping these tight-knit angles in place. And maybe Deicher's going to be the first man under fire and challenge. Yes, he now has Snatchy to hold down the line with the AWP as well. But he's got his attention split between short and long. And now the challenge is going to come through.
See what he can do. Amazing. Stepping up, actually finding the first. Cajun B with a second. This is the North we like to see. Quick and aggressive. They got the short presence as well. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Squid, this is... Where was this 3 rounds ago? Where was this? Now they just have to hold on. Faven chasing them quick on Lekro's heels. With the double molly setup, that's going to completely block Sprout from doing anything at all. Does slow down the plant though too, but not really for them.
Locked in place, and the low HP for AZ and Cajun B. They're connecting the shots nonetheless, in the AK-47's like a firing range onto short. The flank is the insurance policy that doesn't even need to be cashed in. 16 for North. Not the 16 they were looking for before, Flakes. They now need 19 being the magic number. They're now one step closer.
Just have to keep this going now. They need the T side to work out for them. They were able to deliver on their CT side what seems to be quite comfortably in the end. So if they can get their value of the T side here, at least 2 rounds, if not 3, it's going to be a much better affair for them. I wonder if Fathom will be found here as well. Last time we've seen him play this position, he's done really nothing at all here, but this time completely left unchecked. Good for 1, immediately traded though. That does work out for the T side quite well. You have to remember, always in a 4v4 or 3v3, any scenario like that, you favour the T side. They do have just an innate advantage.
Thins out that defense means that Sprout often have to go for quite an awkward rotate. This time, leaving only Speedy alone on this B side of matters. With Dennis, yes, he's holding the mid control up. If they were to challenge Speedy maybe 5 or so seconds ago, he would have been all on his lonesome. Instead, Snatchy taken to task. The Molotov's beautiful, but North want to bail. They don't need to go towards this B bomb site where there's a double defense posted. Instead, MSL misses a key shot, and that might be curtains for the mid aggression at least, with North wanting to face Deicher on this A site.
Easy at it again as well, though. He's been a key piece so far. Continues to try and perform, but not going to happen.
That's such a messy scenario as well. North, I love the idea to rotate away from the double defense towards the curly letter. Sprout had all of their cards in order there to crush that B attack. North predicted it actually really successfully. I think the main mistake was MSL missing that shot towards the middle of the map. It was awkward. He had to shoot right through the corner of that smoke initially, but neither player spotting each other. Of course, MSL doesn't want to scope in and zoom out, making so many different sound cues. It's got to shake your confidence ever so slightly. That might have been North's opportunity to take this map early.
Patient play coming through now from the likes of North. They do not want to rush it. They allow Spiddy and Co to find those shutdown opportunities. I wonder if they do just resort back towards the short play here again. Lack of long presence is a little concerning, though.
Dennis has to hold this one up on his Ransom pretty much, with everybody else being smoked to pieces. Macro's there to find the opener. Heavy damage dealt by Fathom through that smoke. And it's Ditcher just to finish those pair of players off. A lovely nade. Takes down Gade to 31 points of health. This bomb not going down, and the AWP connects. MSL finally starting to step up before the retake.
Fathom is in position to do some damage here as that retake comes through, but KGB quick to shut him down means it will be North coming out ahead.
Oh, that's lovely. Remember, Flakes, there was the opportunity for that to go 18 to 15. Perhaps if MSL had just connected with that one mid shot, this would have been a different scoreline at least. Now North, they have to find 2 on their CT side. They were able to do way more than that earlier in regulation, actually winning their CT half 9 to 6. In OT terms, that kind of translates to a 2-1 scoreline, so the opportunity to finish things off. And as you nicely pointed out, North have been massively favorable when it comes to these gun rounds. They've been taking a lot of these rifle rounds over the top, and Sprout starting us off with speed onto long. Gade's going to be challenged.
This typically works for North, though. They've been dealing with this setup a lot in the first half, and it's where they found the success, was dealing with this aggressive play from Sprout. Heck, they used the USP to finish off that kill. That says it all. This should be an 18th here. I don't see a way Snatchy and Fathom can make this stick. North just have to close, but that's where they choked in the end of the second half, right? They couldn't close.
And that was the decision-making process on the T side kind of falling apart. I guess MSL should be able to easily finish this one off. This would be quite the clutch if Faven's able to take it over the top. One that I cannot see happening. So 18 to 16, pretty much a guarantee. Here, North, now another 2 opportunities granted. This on their CT side, I guess, on paper, should be a bit of an advantage right now. And that nade length things, surely. Faven somehow survives, but there's no chance. He is definitely delaying the inevitable right now. This is for the HLTV rating.
This is it for North, though. They just have to get it over the line now. 18 to 16, all to play for. They have the tools. Now they just have to execute. It is that simple.
Certainly looks like an opportunity. Fairly standard stuff, a bit of long control right off the bat. This is what's been working out for the North CT side. Aggressively pitching around these smokes, finding a couple of those openers, just delaying Sprout temporarily with the incendiary grenades, blocking off lung tunnels. And with 2 rounds to find, Sprout, they need to dig deep, Flakes, into their strat book and find something that we've not seen before. Something special here for OT1. 2 must-win rounds in a row to stay in this series.
We'll see what they can deliver here. Cajun beat deciding, you know what, boys? I want to get aggressive. I want to force the issue. And they're just not expecting it. That's the reality. They're just not expecting him to do it.
Oh.
In fact, he's chasing down Snatchy as well. 43 HP. Tough way to start a round if you're Sprout, to be honest. You just, as I said, you aren't expecting that level of aggression. It's such a key point in the game as well. We've talked about MSL a lot, though, right?
Yeah.
We've said MSL cannot miss a shot. This is a time for him where if he can step up and deliver, he can close this game out. And why is that so critical? Well, look at his position. He is the AWPer that's effectively the turret on short right now. Problem is he's nowhere to be seen. There's complete lack of short control. Gate does slip in from behind, and I think he's just saved the day right there. Finding that double kill means that it's a 5-on-2. Even with no support now from the rest of the team, this is a pretty solid retake here. In 4-on-2, you should just be able to trade. And they do just that. Let Crow with Spitty, leaves Dennis 1 versus 4. Bomb ticket away. Not going to happen. And MSL, in fact,